Hi, I am Melissa Clow, and I am a Special Projects Administrator with the City of Iowa City. Get my screen up here. As I stated, I work for the City of Iowa City Public Works and Engineering Division. I've worked here for about 10 years now as a civil engineer. We have about 6 other civil engineers on staff, as well as our city engineer and public works director. I fall somewhere in the cracks with special projects. These are projects that are related to flooding, or I'll work with Parks and Rec and do other buildings that some of the other engineers don't necessarily work with. So it provides a bunch of opportunity to get variety into my career. There we go. Probably the most popular question I get when people find out what I do is, what is a civil engineer? This photo is our new Park Road Bridge in Iowa City and the elevated Dubuque Street. This was a project that I've been heavily involved in. So I will be referring back to that quite a bit. By definition, a civil engineer is someone who designs and maintains roads, bridges, dams, and similar structures. I just wanted to share a few pictures of common things that we address here in Iowa City. These are some of our roads. We deal with small alleys behind apartments and residential houses up to state highways. We have Highway 1 that runs through town. We have asphalt roadways. You can see at the top, we have, that's an issue created just the other day with all the heavy rains. There's a joint that was blown out with that asphalt road connecting to a bridge deck. The bridge will be replaced in about 2 years. So we're now trying to figure out how to handle that and repair that asphalt pavement so it'll stand up to more rain before we can replace the bridge. We have brick roads in Iowa City. They're part of our history. If we do any projects, have any utility repairs in the area, those roadways have to go back in as brick, which is always an added element of excitement. At the bottom, our most common roadway is concrete. They withstand the freeze-thaw action with water. We have extreme cold temperatures, hot temperatures here in Iowa. So as that water freezes and thaws, it gets under our roadways and cracks them. So there's an example of a 5-year-old roadway with some pretty significant cracks. And then a picture as well of some panels being removed and the construction barriers that everyone loves to see. I think that's what civil engineers are best known for. Here are some bridges in town. We have a lot of old bridges over the creeks and tributaries running to the Iowa River that are currently being replaced and rehabbed. The top picture is a new one. Some of our main focus during new bridge reconstruction is considering pedestrians and trails. A lot of the old bridges don't even have a sidewalk on them. So maintaining that connectivity as well as dealing with the roadway issues. Trails, the bottom bridge is a pedestrian trail. They're being heavily used right now in our social distancing state that we're in. We have many miles of trails, many pedestrian bridges. This is an example of one over I-80. We do coordinate with the State Department of Transportation quite a bit for our facilities that are adjacent to their roadway. Next picture is a bridge that was recently removed just last week. It's being replaced this summer. You can see with increased rainfall that we're experiencing, a lot of that water gets backed up and also carries debris with it. So there's a lot of maintenance with the old bridges. We coordinate with our street staff. We have equipment to get down in there, clean it out, and deal with that. But we're coordinating to get a lot of these bridges replaced and create a better situation for our creek crossings. Part of my job that people don't see is the design of underground utilities. Not all of them are underground. The top one on the right is a water main that's hung from a bridge. We sometimes go under the river or creek, and sometimes we insulate a utility and hang it from the side of a bridge. There's challenges with both. Bottom photo is storm sewer. Typically, storm sewer is concrete, and this was just delivered to the site prior to installation. And then the larger picture is a 30-foot deep sanitary sewer that we constructed as part of the Dubuque Street project. Phasing and traffic control was one of the biggest issues with that project, how to install deep sewers, how to elevate the roadway while maintaining traffic. You can see a bus right there next to our big hole that we dug. These are some of the special things that I get to deal with. We have a new public works building where we store all of our city vehicles and equipment. I don't know much about truck and car washes or fuel facilities, but I help facilitate those being constructed here in Iowa City. We've done some cabin restorations. We have 100-year-old cabins up in City Park that we worked on drainage and provided sidewalk access to so the public can use them. And we have a lot of new playgrounds going in and being installed. So you'd think that was Parks and Rec, but there are different walls, stairs, shelters, sidewalk elements, drainage features that need to be designed and inspected during construction by a civil engineer. So when I was brought on at the City of Iowa City, we had just experienced the 2008 flooding. These are pictures of Dubuque Street before construction and the Park Road Bridge. 2008 was the first time the Park Road Bridge had been overtopped by floodwaters. And the bottom two pictures are, and this happens even now in different parts of Iowa City. Local roadways get heavy rains. If we would get an inch of rain in an hour, our roadway would flood. This is North Dubuque Street. So we deal with stormwater capacity. If we can't put it right into the river because the river's flooding, where else do we put it? Where can we look to provide storage? A lot of our wetlands have been taken up by development. So everyone's kind of taking a step back in the industry right now to look at areas close to our larger watersheds and look to where we can store our rainfall. This is a good aerial view of the flooding that occurred in the corridor. And here again is the finished product. So one of the things I enjoy most about my job is I don't deal with just one element of the profession. So when I first started here, I met with design consultants. I think we met with 3 or 4 different firms, and we interviewed them to see who was most fit to design the project. After that, we went through the planning process. We had to look at all sorts of environmental factors, look at the number of lanes on the roadway, how the traffic signals would be designed. We worked with a bridge architect and the structural engineer. The structural engineer is also used to design the wall elements that help to elevate the road. So I think the number of design teams involved in this project is more than we would typically see, but it was very enjoyable to see all of those come together in one single project. So with my job, I can work on a project like this, or currently I'm working on a little storm sewer project, which is storm sewer through a park, maybe a little bit of landscaping once it goes, once it's covered up and finished. And I don't work with anyone. I help design it, and our streets crew will install it, or our parks department. So just the variety is pretty big. So I wanted to give you an example of existing utilities that we run into. There's conflicts underground that nobody ever thinks about. This was the design of Dubuque Street, how we maintained traffic, how we elevated it at the same time. We did 2 lanes at a time. And this was the Park Road Bridge. It was constructed from the river. We built a structure to build the bridge from, which sounds a little backwards, but we designed it south of the existing bridge to maintain traffic, and then we introduced traffic to the new bridge and demolished the old one. So this is another favorite photo of mine from the project. A place I never thought I would be. I was up at the top of one of the arches that was already poured and complete while they were pouring concrete on the south arch, looking down towards downtown Iowa City. So I was down in sanitary sewers while it was being constructed, and I was up on top of the bridge arch. So those are examples of my projects. You can see that civil engineering is really all around you. It's not only the roadways and bridges that you can see, but it's the water main underground that provides clean drinking water when you turn on your faucet. Wastewater treatment, when you flush your toilet, you don't really want to know where it goes, but we take care of that as well. Stormwater drainage, I talked about with the flooding. Sidewalks and trails is huge. More people are out on trails now than ever before, and just having that connectivity to surrounding communities is even more important. Traffic calming and control, I mentioned traffic signals. A lot of us have seen roundabouts going in, or traffic circles. I know many people don't like them. Most engineers love them. They're very efficient. They use less energy, don't need very many utilities as far as power and electricity for the traffic signals. And then at the bottom, I put flood control, hydraulics, air and water quality. So that'll kind of lead into my discussion with where I entered into civil engineering. I've always been very concerned about the environment, so I wanted to study clean water. Environmental engineering also deals with air and air quality as well, and pollution. So that had been my goal going into college, was to come out with a specialty in environmental engineering. I did take some hydraulics classes in college, some graduate level courses, and by some not really sure how it happened, but I ended up going to a private consulting firm. I did not specialize in any sort of engineering or certain group of those topics that I just went through. I ended up working in general development, where I kind of learned how to do it all, which is one of the things I love about what I do. There's never a day that's the same. The other day with the heavy rain, we had flooding on a project. We're constantly problem solving, trying to figure out how to make things better for the city. We collaborate with contractors, different consultants, other departments here at the city to try and come up with those good solutions. Some of our days are quiet. Many are crazy busy. You come in with your plan for the day, and you leave having accomplished nothing of what you had planned, because you end up being outside and looking at different issues. Getting dirty is one thing I love to do. I love being outside. So going down in the sewer and doing some inspections and Being down in creek beds hasn't been anything that's bothered me. So it's one of those things I enjoy, getting out in the sunshine or even rain sometimes. And then the constant learning. We're always running into issues that we've never seen before, and we quickly have to learn how to address those issues. Um, Probably the greatest reward is the end product. That picture I showed you, the Park Road Bridge, I have worked for 10 years on that project, and to finally see traffic on it and to see how it was constructed from the renderings that the consultant gave us or the pictures, what they had in their mind, to what it actually is very rewarding. Challenges. I work in the public sphere, so I get a lot of calls from the public, many with complaints about sidewalks, storm sewer, how things next to construction projects are tying in or impacting their property. So we're dealing with the public a number of times a day. One thing I'm not good at is public speaking. If you have the opportunity in college, even in high school and middle school, be a part of your debate team, become comfortable with public speaking. We have a number of different organizations that we participate in, like the American Public Works Association, and I've done some topics where I've had to get up and speak in front of a whole room full of civil engineers. So take advantage of everything you have in front of you, because it's not the math and the science, but it's something that you'll be using a lot. There's a lot of paperwork that goes with engineering. 5 years down the line, if you run into a problem, you want to pull out your file and look and see how something was dealt with, how a problem was solved, and kind of retrace your steps, figure out what you could have done better. With project management, I have to track how a contractor is paid. I have to negotiate with them if they don't want to do something because they feel it's not part of the project, when it is, or maybe it's not, and then we add it to the project. So finances is a big thing. How we pay for the projects, and then communication. So you can probably see all of my challenges are not, when you think of the math and science and all the STEM of engineering, the challenges I have are dealing with the normal things that you even have to deal with running a household. It's the same thing as running a project. So for your career path, high school, even middle school, do as many job shadows as you can. I know we've had a few come through here at the city where we can walk you through projects and let you explore what a construction site looks like. Career exploration, check out all those different elements of civil engineering. I have a son who just graduated from high school who's interested in architecture or structural engineering. He loved Legos growing up. So be a part of your Lego league. Figure out what water main design looks like. If you've wondered how your water gets to your tap, I'm sure if you talk to your counselor, you could figure out how to get in touch with the city. And I know here we are more than happy to have people come in and learn more about what we do. Big thing is being responsible for your homework. I say that because engineering is one of the few things, once you get to college and even after, you make a lot of promises and you have to keep them. So the sooner you can start standing behind your word, getting all your work done, the better. Just becomes something that you do. And then remaining active in different things, whether it's in sports or different activities, learning how to multitask and do a lot of different things at the same time. volunteering, and again, we put job shadow. It's just really important. In college, you keep exploring those different options. You're given the opportunity to take classes in all the different specialties. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science from Bradley University after going to high school in Beloit, Wisconsin. A Bachelor of Science is a minimum requirement. From there, you get your engineering, your EI. It's forgotten what it means now, but you're basically an engineering intern. So after you've worked in the profession for about 4 years, you need a number of hours. You can take a test to be a professional engineer. Pursue those internships in college. I had one with the Department of Transportation, and honestly, when I was looking at careers and interviewing, I really had no idea what a lot of civil engineers did. So ask the questions, pursue those internships, and follow up on things that you're interested in. There's a number of different student groups once you get into college that cater to young people, as well as different competitions. I've rowed a concrete canoe. We constructed it with a group of friends, a group of people in the engineering division, and competed against a number of different colleges in the Midwest. So there are a lot of chances to get out there, design concrete, do different things. So I did used to work for the private sector, which is very different than the public sector. I didn't need to talk to anyone. That's when I was an engineer and I sat behind my computer and did my design. These are just aerials. I worked on residential developments and industrial developments. I specialized in storm sewer and detention basins. So in a number of these, you can see the little spots. The one on the left was a 100-acre subdivision. So we would come in and do the roadways, utilities, storm drainage, make sure it was ready for the home builder, who is our client, to come in and start building homes for people. I also worked in commercial development and would work on office buildings and different campuses. I spent 10 years in Chicago before moving to Iowa, and I also worked in Boulder, Colorado. So I know people in the profession who have worked overseas. You can pretty much go anywhere as a civil engineer. So lastly, I mentioned diversifying. So I love being outdoors, as you can see. We ski all winter, we water ski all summer, we backpack, and I have 2 kids. I have a 4th grader, and I also have a son who just graduated from high school. So if you want to be a civil engineer, it's definitely possible to still enjoy life to the fullest and stay busy and happy in your career. So with that, I hope you consider a field in engineering. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in contact with me, and I can answer some questions. Thank you.